Would you like to know how to play this little ditty like Elton John? So this motif in particular is from the Bennie the Jets solo that he does in Sydney, Australia, that I showed a transcription of just about a week ago. I dropped that. So this is towards the end of the solo, but he also uses this in some of his Take Me to the Pilot intros as well, so it can be used in a various number of ways. So let me play this for you slowly, just so you can see it hands together and maybe give an idea how it sounds a little bit slowed down. All right, so if you're learning this for the first time, I want to break it down into its most basic elements. So let's do this hands separately first, and then we'll work together and try to progress and to be able to play it with a metronome as well. Okay, here we go. So in the left hand, what I want to do is just the octaves. So you have B flat, E flat, A flat, B flat, B, C, D, E flat, A flat, D flat, B, C, D flat. Okay, simple enough, but it may take you a minute just to kind of get to where you can play them in a row without having to think about it too much. Once you get there, and don't rush the process, but once you get there, we'll move on to the right hand and show you the chords in the right hand and the orientation of those. So the first chord will be a B flat, and we call this second inversion because the fifth is in the bass. Next chord is an E flat, that's in first inversion. A flat in its root position. D flat in its first inversion. From there we do a G major in its root position. C in second inversion. And then the first repeat is a B flat. You'll actually have a different note in the bass, but it's still the same chord. And then we repeat that to the E flat, E flat, E flat, D, C. All that's the same until we get to this D flat diminished chord or C sharp diminished chord, or however you want to call it. So once you get really comfortable with each hand separately doing just octaves in the left hand, just chords in the right hand, now let's just put them together, not the way he plays it, but we're just going to put the chords together in their sequence and get really comfortable with that, okay? So let's start. Here we go. Nice and slow. With the sound, it almost reminds me of Nikita. I don't know if it is you as well. So once you get really comfortable with that, again, I know we're moving kind of quick because it's a video, but don't move ahead too quickly because it will just cause a lot of frustration and you won't be able to get it to sound the way you want it to towards the end. So definitely put in the work up front and just move slowly and break them down, and don't rush it. You'll get there eventually, I promise. So once you get comfortable with just chording these in its sequence, now we can break up the hands and do this pattern like he plays it, but we'll do a lot slower, and we'll also stay on a chord for a period of time that's longer instead of just moving, so we don't have to do too much at once. So I'll show you kind of the pattern rhythmically what it is, but we'll just stay on the B flat and then we'll move progressively through slowly so that we don't have to do too much at once. So I'll show you the pattern. All right, so that's one thing I would do. I would just keep this pattern going on one chord until you're really comfortable, and then move on. I wasn't comfortable right there. That's all you gotta do. Don't try to do too much at once. Do that over and over and over until you're super comfortable with it, and then you can start to move into where you can go. Much more like he plays it live. So now once you're comfortable playing this in the sequence, in the rhythmic pattern that he has it, sort of a triplet feel, once you're comfortable doing that, hands together, just like he does, but slowly, now you can introduce a metronome, and that would definitely bump up the difficulty level, trying to stay with the metronome, not speeding up, not slowing down. So I would start slow. I would do probably 80 to 85 BPM to start out. And then once you get to this, we'll demonstrate it with the metronome. But with the metronome, once you get the feel, then do that several times, come back, stop, come do it again at the same BPM level. Then you just bump it up, 1 BPM, 2 BPM, 3 BPM, whatever you feel comfortable with. And it will really progress quickly from there. As long as you don't try to rush and go from 85 to 120. It's just too quick of a jump, so make sure you do it incrementally. But once you do it, you will really find that it comes quickly because you've done that foundation work of separating the hands and all that good stuff. So we'll do it at 85 BPM right now, and then on from there, you can take it to as fast as you want to. Here we go, 85. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. So now that you're comfortable playing this with a metronome, now you can add a little bit of a nuance to the performance. Adding some dynamics really gives this some life, and you'll notice in his performances of the Sydney, Australia, and also some of his Take Me to the Pilots, he actually adds a little bit of softness and loudness to the short motif to add a little bit more character and a little bit more life to it. I'll demonstrate that here right now. All right, so now that you have this in your tool belt, you can play it anywhere. You can play it in an intro, you can play it in a solo, you can change the key, play it in something that you never would have thought it would have belonged, but it's a cool little thing to have in your tool belt and that you can use it from here on out. If you haven't done so, make sure to download the free MIDI file of the Sydney, Australia, Bennie the Jets solo. It's in the description below. That'll help you take your knowledge of this solo and your ability to play it to a whole new level. So make sure to do that. Also comment below on some other tutorials you'd like to see for some solos, some intros, just things that you find difficult to figure out. I'd love to do some more tutorials, so if you have some comments or suggestions on those, I'd love to hear them. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, share it with folks who you think would find this useful, and we'll see you the next time.